technical difficulties here with my laptop, so I gotta get that straightened out. So tonight I wanted to talk about doing a ketosis challenge and seeing if, well, here's what I want to lay out. I think it's really very beneficial to have a bit of an accountability, and if anybody would like to join into a challenge of monitoring ketones and glucose, and we'll do it for the month of May. And what would happen is if you have a Keto Mojo, then the information would all be fed into a pretty much a accumulated history of everybody who joins into the challenge. So we can have a weekly meeting, and it will have the opportunity for us to talk about getting into ketosis, because really, what are the benefits of ketosis? Well, first and foremost, what most people are really interested in is the weight loss, because when you are no longer burning glucose for energy, your body looks for both dietary fat and body fat. So is there issues getting keto adapted? Yes. Most people will go through that adaptation phase, and many of you are probably already through it, and maybe you are in ketosis. Then there's people who ask me, do I even need to measure? Do I need to do my blood glucose and ketones? No, you don't. You could go along and not measure at all, and then worry about it down the road if you stall and you're not reaching your goals. But what I wanted to offer is for anybody who wanted to come into a challenge for the month of May, no charge. I'm just going to try to see if this will work to just offer this group. And I wanted to concentrate the topic on ketosis because, there's a lot of benefits of ketosis. Both, we know for the healing of epilepsy, for brain clarity. It also helps decrease our appetite, and it really, for most people, will lift brain fog, wherein lies the whole mental clarity thing. Some increased energy once you get through keto adaptation. You might notice some bowel movement changes as you adapt into it, or some of you are already into ketosis and already have gone through either a bout of constipation or diarrhea, or some people just don't have any issue at all. So I think it would be great to have a group of people who, and I like doing it now in the month of May. It's springtime, and I think a lot of people who either came out of New Year's resolutions and want to get back. Sorry, I have no lighting here. I'm in a hotel, and I'm having a lot of technical difficulties with my laptop, so I am just trying to wing this on my phone here. So, but yeah, coming out of wanting to make those New Year's resolutions and make changes, and maybe stalled, or maybe not paying so much attention to really getting into ketosis. It's so beneficial, and I really feel like for people who want to get diminished joint pain, and people who want to get inflammation down, and I've been really going down the rabbit hole and watching so much of Thomas Seyfried with the whole cancer issue, and that cancer cells are not able to metabolize ketones for their energy source. They need glucose. So, anything that people out there in this, nutritional, therapeutic version of trying to heal, like even stage 4 cancer with ketosis. Does it involve fasting? It can for some. That will be one of the things that we discuss. We can start the month of May with the first 3 days of doing a water fast and just kickstart it. And having a Keto Mojo, I'm going to have the ability to get your emails and send you an invite, and I'm going to be able to see your numbers, and that's going to help hold you accountable. It's going to help encourage you the night before to think twice about putting that snack in your mouth. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions. Somebody asked, so the ketosis meter for this needs to be the Keto Mojo, because Keto Mojo gives me the ability under a professional account to form this group and to have anybody who wants to join into this to get an invite from me. I gotta still see, make sure I can figure out how to do this all, but I'm pretty sure if I can get your emails, then I will be able to get this group formed, and we'll be able to get valuable information. I think it will be, number one, I'd like the information of how well people in the group through the month, how well you got into ketosis. And Keto Mojo is not an app. There is an app. And what happens is you'll get the Keto Mojo device. I should have brought it over here. Actually, I can, because I've got my phone. So the Keto Mojo is a glucose ketone blood monitor. And the reason why I am wanting the Keto Mojo to, let me put this back here. Sorry again about my, so the Keto Mojo is this unit. You will have strips for both glucose and ketones, and you are going to get the reading, and it will wirelessly through Bluetooth connect to your phone, and it is going to connect to me. And so I'm going to leave, Denise, I'm going to leave the link here because you'll get a discount if you use my link to get the Keto Mojo. And I think that, is there enough time? Yeah, we're only at the 18th, so hopefully I will put the link as soon as I get off of this live. And if you can figure it out, I'm in the May challenge. Great, Arlene. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get this figured out by May 1st. So I'm going to start it May 1st. Now, here is the kicker. I needed to figure out a day and time, because in addition to getting your readings and having information, what I'd like to do is each week we all gather together into a group, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about during that week what worked wonderfully for Corinne and what did not work for Jim, and what worked great for me that week. And if I can really get my act together, I'll be able to do screen shares in this Zoom meeting. And I just think it will be, number one, I love the accountability of it. I think for people who tend to derail, it will be, I think, really valuable, because guess what? I'm getting your numbers every day. And not that I'm going to be here, with the whip out and, you know, reprimanding. It's more that it can be a way for me to reach out and say, hey, what happened here? I saw your ketones were over 1.0 and now all of a sudden they're at 0.3. And let's talk about it. And like I said, the accountability factor of it, I think, is big. You know what? Forget that. I'm not going to keep, I should really figure this out. But so let's see. I got to figure out how to do this. Aside, the Keto Mojo link's going to be down there. I think you get a 15% discount off of their this unit, and it will come with an initial supply of glucose and ketone strips. The reason why I don't like the urine strips is the urine strips are really not that accurate. There's the breath. Breath is more accurate than urine, not as accurate as blood. And there's a lot of factors that can alter the breath one. If you use mouthwash, if you had just brushed your teeth, if you've chewed gum, all these things that we shouldn't be doing, alcohol within a certain time period. But let's just not talk about the breath ketones and the urine ketones, because with data, I like to use the most accurate. And there's, and this is what I'm going to ask everybody to do who wants to join in, is do it first thing in the morning. That's the only time I want it. I don't want it an hour before you eat. I don't want it 2 hours after you eat. Oh, it doesn't ship to Canada and Canadian. Yes, Canadians are welcome in the group. And yeah, let me just say that I am not going to, I'm not going to limit it to have the Keto Mojo. The cool part about the Keto Mojo is that it is going to feed into a group chart for me, and but we can just have this as a ketosis group for the month of May. Now, here's the problem. I needed to obviously find a day and time that is going to work for me, and it's really hard to figure out with the time zones and all that. So obviously I have to just pick it. So I decided that it's going to be Wednesday evenings, Eastern Standard Time, from 8 until 9 p.m. because I have my own private group from 9 till 10 every Wednesday, which you're all welcome to join into that too. But I thought 8 to 9, so I'll do it right before my other meeting. And so that makes it 5 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, I can't help. That's the one thing that's a little frustrating. I want to be able to have this work out for as many as I can. And obviously it might not work out for people who are, you know, at work during that time. But what I can offer, and I got to see, depending, oh, good, Daphne, you just said you recently bought the Keto Mojo. That works perfectly. So you get the My Mojo app, and I will, after I get everybody's emails of who's interested, I will send the link to the Zoom meeting for the Wednesday night Zoom, and I will also send the invite into the Keto Mojo group that I create. So, you know, I'm going into this with the thought that because of really over, I'm going to say almost the past year now of going down the rabbit hole of how important ketosis is and how instrumental it is in metabolic health. And metabolic health is everything, guys. It really is. We have to really understand that it's not just the number on the scale. This is all about, we want our fasting insulin below 5. We want our A1C below 5.0, ideally. And we're going to talk about all these numbers, and this isn't going to be for somebody, does eating carnivore, zero carbs, ensure you'll be in ketosis? Interesting question. That's hard to answer because of individual situations and how insulin resistant you are, and how low you are. Like if you go zero carb, and then we got to talk about the fat part of it and eating enough fat, and we'll really discuss this in the meetings, and we will see what's happening. And we'll also discuss the sardine challenge, because Dr. Baz's work has shown her that the people that are really insulin resistant are going to have better glucose and ketone results of a 72-hour sardine challenge than they will with a 72-hour water fast. And she's done this on like 1,000 patients now. And she formed a group like I'm talking about, because of using the Keto Mojo. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting to be able to manipulate what you yourself eat and don't eat, and timing of when you eat, and getting that glucose and ketones the next morning. So, all right, let me see if I can pull up some of your comments here. Thanks for joining in. Alicia says, hi, I always see this after it's not live. So yeah, we're live now. Haven't used it yet. Your meeting's a little bit late for me. We will see. I have been wanting to be part of a community group, preferably run by a woman. Does it? Okay. So, for anybody who joined late, this is my plan, and I wanted to talk about ketosis a little bit, and talk about, yeah, let's go into, if somebody is really brand new to this, I'm not so sure it's smart to, let's just say, get hung up on all of this. It's so hard at the beginning just to wrap your brain around starting this way of eating and eliminating all that other toxic garbage food that's no longer recognized as food to me. But I think we really need to separate. Now, I don't want to prevent anybody who's brand new into carnivore, who might be really thinking about jumping in and starting May 1st. I don't want you to feel excluded from this. And it's something that you can use as maybe an ancillary information, and join in and listen in on the meetings. But let's see. Curious to know why you want the keto tested in the morning. Morning glucose is usually higher if I eat past 6 p.m. 92 days strict. Beef, bacon, butter, I think, took out eggs, been in high ketosis after first week. So great. If you're in high ketosis, awesome. Brenda says MCT oil or oil powder for ketosis. Yes, it's not, technically carnivore, and a lot of people will say, why are we using these kind of exogenous kind of things to create ketosis? I'm not against it. I am all for seeing if we can get people at the point where your GKI index is dropping. And that GKI index, I'll explain this all in the first Zoom of how we're going to look at this, but it's really all for metabolic health and for weight loss. I mean, weight loss is part of metabolic health, so we have all that to consider. I just got the Keto Mojo. I haven't opened it yet, but are we forced to use the app with it, or can I just use the meter itself and be okay? Maria, you can use the meter itself, and yeah, Ketovore's fine, Janet. You can use the meter itself and not do the app, and what that will mean is that I am not getting your information, and that was part of why I was thinking, hey, this is going to be really neat because I can form a group within the Keto Mojo professional app that I have and get your data. And how neat is that to have me getting your glucose and ketones every day, right? And how will that change potentially you snacking on something at 8 or 9 at night? This is for your benefit. Obviously, it's not for me to, I'm not going to be calling out anybody. It's more for information and seeing if we can get, as a group, a lot of people talking about what's working and get somebody else to say, hey, let me try altering what I'm doing, or be motivated to actually do a 72-hour sardine challenge or a 72-hour water fast the first 3 days. I am going to do that the first 3 days of May. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, May 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And so that will be pretty neat because Wednesday night is the night that I'm saying I'm adding this extra. So if you're just jumping in, I'm going to do a group, no charge. I just want to get a lot of you involved. Number one, involved in a group so that you can get a sense of the community and a sense of feeling what it's like to gather and talk about what's working, what's not working. Feel supported that there's other people out here doing the same thing, trying to get metabolically healthy and trying to get into ketosis. Okay. So as far as the timing, somebody, I'm going to scroll back and try to find your question, but yeah, why I say just once and just first time. Let me just see where that question was. I don't know. No, you don't have to pay to use the app. The app is free. The app is part of the Keto Mojo unit. And the part that I am adding to it is the fact that I have a professional account with Keto Mojo as a physician, and I can create a group and I can send an invite to all of you who want to be in my group. And what happens is that group, that Keto Mojo group that I formed, your daily glucose and ketones will come into a chart. So I'm going to see if I can get that whole thing to work. And the reason why the app tracks readings, making it easier to see what's working, plus you keep a journal. Yeah, so, and yeah, you can totally do this on your own. I wanted to offer this because number one, there's another level of accountability when somebody else like me is getting your info. It's not that I'm going to use it or show it or call anybody out on it. It's just the fact that, hey, maybe it is going to be something where I can go, wow, Corinne, your ketones are shooting up. What are you doing? And we'll talk about it in that weekly Zoom meeting. And I just think information is so valuable. Okay, so now somebody is also going to probably mention and ask, and if you already haven't, because it's really hard. Like I said, I apologize. I'm having big technical difficulties here. So I'm on my phone, but I'm going to scroll back and look. But somebody's going to say, well, what about the dawn effect? My glucose is high in the morning. That's not fair. I don't want to do my early morning glucose. No. When we wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, weigh yourself if you're a daily weigher. We'll talk about that in the groups too, because that can be really important for a lot of people for accountability and for learning. It's information. We can't manage what we don't measure, and to see what's working. I want to see that if I get my glucose down below 80 and I get my ketones above 1.0, I'm going to be in that sweet spot of losing weight. And we all have to figure out how we're going to make this happen. And again, Some people who are really insulin resistant, it's not going to happen in 4 weeks. I just want to use this as information, and it's going to head you in the right direction for sure. And like my initial thought process on this, it's really awesome for accountability. I just wanted to be able to offer it for that reason, and for the reason of giving you all a group at no charge. I'm not sure how this is going to work, because I'm gonna have to really work hard at getting all the emails into a group, send out the Zoom link, and it's going to be Wednesday Eastern Standard Time from 8 till 9, if that works. And also, I can tell you, if you can't make that time slot, but you really, really want to be part of this, then I am going to offer for you also to be in the group virtually, and I will be sending out a recording of the meeting, of that meeting that happens each week to everybody. So if you missed it, or if you can't attend them at all, I want everybody to be able to feel what it's like to have that sense of community and have that spot that you know you're going to go to each week and be able to ask me questions, be able to listen to other people's situations. And I don't know, this gets me fired up, because I feel it is so important in a big way in my journey to being in a group. And you could say, well, I'm on Facebook and zeroing in on health or zero carb, whatever, or and you feel like when you're in a typing group, but to actually be in a Zoom room and be able to raise your hand and ask questions and listen as somebody else shares, and you can relate to their story, or listen and somebody says, I had it going so good and my ketones were over 1 and I was so excited, and then it was my sister's bridal shower and I went off the rails, and now I am, and just be able to relate, because how many times have we slid into the ditch ourselves? So I think I want to offer this so that a lot of you can experience the group and then make a decision going forward. Was it really valuable for you? And going forward, join into one of the groups. It doesn't have to be my group. I only offer 3 groups a week. This is going to be I'll add this 4th one on, and obviously all of the people that are in my 3 groups, I am going to, of course, message with them ahead of time and talk about this in each of my groups, and they'll hopefully, I'm guessing they'll all come into this group too. And it is like a family, and I have so many of you, and I'm sure there's some of you on here right now who are flying out to come to the meetup, so in July. And this is really turned from an internet family to really, there's many in my groups that have become true friends, and it's just really valuable, because we are in a situation where we are not the norm. So I just felt like this was a good topic and a good time, because May, we're going to be heading into summer, and it's a good time. If you haven't joined my step bet, I highly, highly recommend that, because along with ketosis, it'd be incredible for you to bump up your walking each day. And if you don't know what step bet is, go watch my video about step bet. I took time to go from start to finish exactly what it is. You make money just by walking and meeting your goals, and we're all in there together, and everybody has their own individual step goals. And I just would love to have more people try it, because it was such a game changer for me, for holding me accountable. When you got a little, so it's a free app and you do pay $40 in to be in the game. All you have to do is do your steps each week, and at the end you get your money back, and you make more because you also split the pot of people who did not do their step goal. So I don't know, for me, when you've got that little bit of skin in the game, I don't want to lose my $40, and I don't want to give it to anybody else. So it gets me up off my ass a lot more than what I was doing, because there's money on the line. So, all right, let me, yes, Arlene, I know you're going to be at that meetup. Yeah, and so somebody says I'm in perimenopause with hypothyroidism. It's been very challenging. Yeah, that's part. I mean, heck, I dealt with going through menopause, and it's been challenging for me to stay where I want to stay with my weight, and maybe even challenge myself to get a touch leaner, and very, very challenging. And that's why aside from, and I just dealt with my dad went through cancer and passed, and I feel like ketosis is so important in that part of my journey to optimal health, is that I really try to figure out what works for getting into ketosis. This will be 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to have you send an email. I'm going to put the email in this video, carnivoredoctor2020@gmail. And when I get the list of emails, I will populate it, and I'm going to have a cutoff. I'm just going to accept them this week, and then we will have the group set. And I hope you get a Keto Mojo so that we have that aspect of it, because that was really my initial instigating factor. I said, wow, I'm gonna make this group and make it so that people will feel like I'm gonna keep an eye out to help you and reach out and weekly be able to correspond as far as, the numbers. Oh, so what I was talking about as far as why I want you just to do the one reading and just to do the first one when you get up. And I don't care about the dawn effect. Why? Because I want to see what happens from now, when you first get up, to 6 months from now. What's the trend? What's happening? It's just because there's a dawn effect doesn't mean that if your morning glucose is 110, I don't care, dawn effect or not, 110 is not a good morning glucose. So let's say you start staying really good on track, and this is going to kick it off for you, and you're going to attend the weekly meetings, or at least watch them. Then let's see what happens as a trend over time with your first reading in the morning. Why are we gonna say, oh, I do it an hour before I eat my first meal? Well, maybe your first meal's at noon this day. Maybe your first meal needs to be at 9 a.m. this day. And, could be, maybe you went to the gym or you worked out, and then that's gonna affect it. I want it the first thing when you get up in the morning. Head into the bathroom, do your thing, and prick your finger, and off we go. We get the reading once a day, first thing in the morning. So the readings will come in, and we're going to have the meeting each week, and we're going to talk about ketosis, and maybe some people start talking about how you might initially have problems sleeping as your body adapts to ketosis. if you're somebody who's never measured it, it will be really interesting because you really 0.5 and higher is, you know, the start of ketosis. Ideally, you really want to try to get it over 1.0, and I'll explain the whole. I know some of you have already been through the whole Dr. Boz course, and oh, Maria says she's at 0.5 now. Great. And I mean, it'd be great to try to get up to 2.2 and kind of just bounce yourself up higher into ketosis. Why? For better weight loss, better autophagy, better mental clarity, you know, all of these things. So, and this isn't stagnant. I mean, you could be at, I'm seeing one come at 0.7. Okay, well, how do we get you to 1.5, right? Because for the Boz ratio, you're taking your glucose, you're dividing it by ketones, all right? And weight loss zone kind of is 80 and below for that equation. So if you have a blood glucose of 80 in the morning and your ketones are at 0.5, so you divide 80 by 0.5, you get 160. Well, 160 isn't 80 or lower for weight loss. So that's why I was taking the number of 80. But so let's say you have a glucose of 100, but your ketones are at 2.0. Well, then you got a Boz ratio of 50, and you are in fat burning weight loss mode. So you got to get the glucose low and the ketones up. You know, if your morning glucose is 90 and your ketones are 0.7, you are not in that below 80 zone as far as that glucose divided by ketone number. So it's, and it doesn't mean that you have to be there or else you're not going to lose weight. But if you're somebody who's really been stalled and not budging, this might be one of the levers we can pull to try to see what will happen. And what might we have to do? You might need to do this sardine challenge. You might need to do a water fast. You might need to suck it up, buttercup, and say, you know what, I'm going to do something hard. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe a fat, well, we call it a fat fast. It's not technically a fast when you're eating fat, but a fat challenge where, let's say for 72 hours, you decide you're going to do the fat fast instead of a sardine fast or a water fast. And you could see what data you get with that. And that's why I find this is so important to measure, because again, you can't manage what you don't measure. Oh wow, Brenda, you did a 4.5 day sardine only. So how were, you know, what happened with your glucose and ketones? I did a 72-hour once and I got great numbers. But we can talk about that. I think what I'll do when I send out the initial welcome message, group email message, I'm going to throw out ideas of, and maybe we can separate people into groups. Maybe we can do 3-day water fast group. We can do a 3-day sardine. So we're talking about 72 hours. And maybe there'll be a group that are 72 hours on the fat fast. And that might be interesting too. I think I'm able to tab and categorize in the Keto Mojo group. Any Canadians here know what ketosis meter can actually be sold and shipped here? Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. But if anybody who's from Canada in here can chime in, that would be great. Yeah, and so there is another issue with the division and the numbers and the units, because Canadians have their glucose in millimoles. It's a different unit measurement, but I'll go over all that and we'll get everybody to be able to compare on an even basis. So, all right, so there you have what my idea is. And let me know in the comments if you have any further suggestions of something that you would really like me to really hit upon on this. My plan really is to keep this May month centered on the topic of ketosis and trying to bring each of us through the weeks we're just going to do it the first 4 Wednesdays of May. And actually one of those Wednesdays, I'm going to be down in Myrtle Beach on a retreat, a carnivore retreat. I'm going to be kind of co-hosting that. And so, but I will hold the meeting from there and have the retreat attendees be part of my Zoom meeting to join in. So yeah, I'm really excited to welcome a lot of you who have never been in a group to experience a group, and also to hopefully just really realize how amazing it is to learn from each other and to be able to share and feel I hate to say feel normal, and that there's other people that are really intently as interested as you are about reaching optimal health and figuring things out and trying to heal from some serious issues. A lot. I mean, I realize there's a lot of health issues out there that are in this because why? Because you have your why that makes you cry. You have your reason that actually brought you to research this, because that's the interesting thing about this whole way of life and way of eating. You don't come upon it lightly and just say, hey, this, I heard about my neighbor doing this, I think I'm going to jump in. Like, nobody does that. Like, you have to have that point where you're like, wow, really? I've been on, whatever. Somebody could say they've been on hypertension medications for 20 years and they're suffering with anxiety and psoriasis, and heck, let's jump in and do it and see what happens. But it's so far out there for most people that again, like I said, you got to have your why that makes you cry. And Lenore just said you just ordered more strips for your Keto Mojo. Good, dust it off. I have somebody else who I just private one-on-one coached, who I talked about do you have a glucose monitor? And they were like, yeah, it's somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I think I could dig it up. And you know what? It's such a valuable tool. It really is. And especially if it's something, and again, this is not something we're going to have to measure the rest of our lives. This is not something that we're relying on as the be all end all. If we don't get this number here, we're screwed. This is nothing like that. This is just another tool in the toolbox. This is just another bit of information that I want you to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. I want you to have that focus where, heck, ideally, I want to get into ketosis, and ideally, I need to get my glucose lower. So that's really a lot of my motivation to do this, is just to, number one, get more of you to experience a group. Number two, pay attention to an aspect of this metabolic syndrome that we're paying attention to, and really be able to manipulate the number and learn how, by what we're eating, when we're eating, how much we're eating. We're going to go into all of that in the meeting. So let me just see if I have a couple other questions here, and then we will sign off. I was keto for 4 years and transitioned to strict carnivore. Felt great then, feel great now. Great, no health issues to heal. that's awesome, you know, and it's all about just staying in that state of being able to just go live life and be happy. So, you know, Brenda, you might not want to bother pricking your finger every day, and you might feel like you're in just coasterville, you're just coasting, and I don't want to push anybody to start doing this. So you notice doing all meat, you don't go much over 0.5. Yeah, so Victoria, we're gonna have to talk about also, for some people to get into that initial ketosis, you might not be able to eat a gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. You might have to do 0.8 for a little bit and see what that does, you know, and track that too. But there's all sorts of different levers we can pull to try to see what happens. I don't have a Keto Mojo, but I got a ketone meter and a glucose meter. All right, Kelly. So, yeah, so go ahead and track and make your own chart. It's just not going to come into my chart, which is fine. It seems like the Canadians aren't going to be able to get a Keto Mojo. You know, I'm going to see the Keto Mojo people when I fly this Thursday to Austin for KetoCon. I'm going to talk to them about the Canadian issue, because I know they gave me a European link for for Europeans, and I have a US link. So whew, trying to hold the sneeze in. So Jennifer says, I'd like to join, but you don't have the Mojo. I'm using a different device. I'm from Canada, and I'm using the BKT Best Ketone Test. Well, great, Jennifer. That is information for whoever it was who just asked about the Canadians. And can you maybe type in, Jennifer, what the BKT, where was that, from a website, or is that Canadian Amazon, or how did you get that? And again, like I said, this isn't an absolute necessity to say if you don't have the Keto Mojo, you can't be in my group. I'm not doing that. I'm hoping that the majority will have the Keto Mojo, and if you don't have any meter at all and thinking about getting one, that you get the Keto Mojo, and that we can have a collective database, and that I'm going to be talking about at each of the meetings. So let's just see if I have ordered more strips. Okay, yeah, so UK, it's millimoles, just like it is in Canada. So it's an easy conversion. And we can do the GKI index instead of the Dr. Boz index, and that's really easy for the conversion. US, we just have to divide the glucose by the number 18 and then divide by the ketones. But I will put all of that in email messages so that everybody's on board. So Glenn is asking if Canadians know what ketosis meter can actually be sold and shipped. So the BKT that Jennifer talked about, I hope, Glenn, you were still on here and got that info. 2 hours faster, Navy Dave says. That doesn't mean anything unless you know the times in question. All right. My next door neighbor runs ultra marathons for team. Ultra distance runners run slow. Yeah. Fast regularly to get into good ketosis. Yeah, so Michelle, that will be great if you come in the groups and we talk about that, and you talk about how much you fast. Some people do rolling 36s, meaning you eat Sunday night, nothing Monday, eat Tuesday morning, and then eat Tuesday night, and then nothing Wednesday, and then eat Thursday. So it's like alternate day fasting, but they call them rolling 36s. I don't know how sustainable that is for long term, but that might be a great way for a week or two to get yourself into ketosis. Yeah, so Stan, yep, every Wednesday it's going to be Eastern Standard Time, 8 until 9 p.m. The app that I am recommending to be part of the group. So Daphne, You don't have to have anything to be part of the group. And anybody can join into the group. But the app that I'm talking about is, I can pull it up on here. So the app is, well, you know what? I'll put it in the welcome message, but it's the My Keto Mojo app, and it will be very clear. And if I can get people to take the invite that I send, if you have a Keto Mojo, you will accept the invite to be into my Keto Mojo professional. See, I know it gets confusing because I'm talking about being in that group and then also having this Zoom group. But in general, basically what I wanted to do is just offer at no charge the weekly group for the, let me just see what May is for Wednesdays. I'm having a really rough time here, month. Here we go, May. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it will be the first 4 Wednesdays of May, the 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th, from 8 until 9 Eastern Standard Time. And so, yeah, I'm going to welcome anybody and everybody into that group, hopefully who is interested in this ketosis topic, because that's really what it's going to be concentrated on. And then, in addition to that weekly Zoom, during this month of May, is that the daily glucose and ketone numbers, if you have the Keto Mojo, are going to come to me. So it's a really kind of neat accountability thing. Plus, it's a way of me looking at and seeing what's happening with people who have done either the sardine challenge, the water fast, the fat fast, and you don't have to fast at all. And see what happens with your numbers, and maybe you're already in ketosis. So it'll just be really interesting to be able to join a lot of you together and experience what a group is like, and for us to even maybe move forward with the group in the future if you know, people want to stay on. And I would add a group to my groups, and for people who are really interested, they can stay on. So, all right, I think that I'm going to sign off here because I want to start getting the accumulated emails. I'm going to put the Keto Mojo link for the discount. I'm going to put my email for those of you who would like to join into the group. Send me your email, and I will try to populate the list this week and get out a welcome letter email next week. So, all right, thanks for joining, and I hope that you all are excited to come on board with this, and I will see you soon. See you next Tuesday. Bye.